First, just want to start this morning by thanking my husband, because if it wasn't for him, none of us would be here today. So, I love you. I love you. Last night, you can ask the production team who just met me the other day. We're over here at my apartment at, 12 o'clock at night, Mark. We were going through, because I haven't had time to do a presentation, which is why my notes are on my hand. Just so you know, I've been on the road. You know what I mean? And so I had them over going through what I was going to do. And I have this incredible journal, which you'll meet Mary in a minute. Some of you have already met her. But I love you guys. Sit down. But I do want to say this. When you hear someone clap, clap with them. Yes. When you hear and you feel moved, don't ever let anything stop you from clapping when you feel moved, because not everybody hits people the same way. You move when you want to move. You're different. You're unique. You deserve to be whatever you want to be, and you're in the right place at the right time. And don't you ever forget it. But I know that JR's with me, because last night at midnight, we were going through what I wanted to do in the afternoon, and I had Mary and Christian and Andrew Weissman and the whole production there, team with me, and all of a sudden on my phone, I have a journal that I keep that I write to JR, and I have to give Mary credit for it, because I wasn't a person who kept a journal for the longest time, and I have this journal that's like 280 pages in my phone that I write to JR all the time. Like, if I have a thought about him, if Mark says something that reminds me of him, if I hear him say, like, don't be stuck on the dot, or you're going to catch that one on the way home, or, you can make this happen, Loren, you can do this, I believe in you. I wrote like 280 pages in my phone, and it's labeled, the title of it's labeled, I love you so much. So last night, we're sitting there, and I had my phone off, like on silent still from the morning. And I saw my phone light up, and it said 11:11. And the notes page popped up with an edit, but we couldn't find what the edit was, and it just said, I love you so much. Yeah. And the whole team, right, Ashley? Ashley's shaking her head down there. She was in awe. She couldn't believe it. And I realized that was his way of letting me know that he's with me. He's with us. Exactly where he will always live. And, this is his stage. He will always live here with us. And I am forever grateful for JR. And those 36 years have been the greatest years of my life. And I know that Joe this morning was right, that this is just the beginning. And that I hear him every day pushing me. That's why, when we made a decision, Mark and I, to do the tour and Divide and Conquer in November, and I was like, Mark, everybody knows in my family I hate to fly. It's my biggest fear. But I knew, and Jerry used to say to me, babe, don't think about it. Anytime I would put something in my head, I'd be like, I don't know if we should do this, Dare. Hi, babe. And I don't know if we should do this, Dare. I don't know. I don't feel like it's like a good day to fly. I'd say, Loren, cancel it. Cancel the thought. Just stop. And he would, program my brain, which we're going to do this afternoon to yours. But the thing about JR is that his belief still lives in the room. His belief in you, his belief in me, his belief in Mark, his belief in the team. I mean, what about Mark Ashley this weekend, guys? Do you have a greater president? A greater president than Mark? No, there is no greater president than Mark. You're the best, you're the greatest, and you are selfless. And I know that JR is saying that this weekend you were a magic moment for him. because you have stepped up and helped me in so many more ways than you could ever possibly imagine. Because this journey that we're on together, I always remind myself that I'm not the only one who lost him, that we all lost him. And so this journey that we're on together is ours. And it's one that we're doing together. And the fact that we're in it together, the only place I belong is right here. That's the only place I belong. And as Joe said, we figured out who our friends were along the way. And, my family will tell you I cleaned up a lot of my circle after JR passed away because I just wanted to tighten it up. I had to tighten it up and really protect myself. And, Joe came over and Loren came over and, you heard him up here. He's very protective. He even so protective that he and Loren moved in the same building with me because they didn't want to leave me alone, which is amazing. Imagine your friends moving into the same building with you to make sure you're okay. That's pretty remarkable, okay? But, and so it's been an incredible, incredible journey. And if I've learned anything from JR besides belief, is that we're here to serve people. We're here to serve people, and we're here to create self-awareness and to build self-worth. And it's something that we're going to do today. And so I think about my story and my journey and how I got here. I was 18 years old when I fell in love with JR. All my friends had 20 other boyfriends by the time they were 18. I just had one before JR, just one. And that was it. And by the time I was 18, I met JR and I knew that he was magical. Now, he didn't, of course, have, and I'll tell you my whole story this afternoon, but he didn't have anything back then. There was no money. All I knew is that he was special. I just knew he was special. I knew he was magical. I knew that he would speak to me in ways that I'd never had anybody speak to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I grew up with the most incredible mother. She was warm and loving, and some of you probably remember her from our first convention. And she died when she was 42 years old at our first international convention of a massive heart attack. And so I do know grief, as I've said, and I was devastated by that. But she was a huge supporter of Mark and I. Our dad, and Steve, of course. And Steve, I love you. I know you're watching, by the way. I'm so happy you made the decision to stay home. That was the right thing to do. I know JR was saying Steve has to stay home and take care of himself because God knows that God and I have a whole new deal. We don't get to see grief anymore in my lifetime. I've seen enough. And so that's my new deal with God. So I got to keep everybody healthy and happy. But I love you guys. I love you and I feel you. I love you. I feel you. I see you, Deb. I love you. You inspire me all the time. I love you. But I think when I think about my story and my journey, and the beginning days, Mark, right? The days that nobody would believe. Because, somebody showed the slide. I'm not sure if it was Kevin or Annie or who showed the slide or Allison, with all the things with the avalanche below, right? And we see life as like, oh my God, she must have a great life, right? She has a great life, a great home, beautiful family, great cars, great, whatever, have a great life. But you don't see the work it takes to get here. And that's the key. And I was so grateful when I saw that slide because everybody looks at it and goes, oh, I want that life. But are you willing to work for it? What are you willing to do for it? Do you believe in yourself? Because I got to tell you, the reason why I'm taking on this session, when I look at JR and all the beautiful things he's done on this stage, I don't know another CEO who runs a hamster wheel, walks a tightrope, takes you into a cemetery, pumps the pumps. He's doing it to show you can do it. Do you understand that? I don't know any other CEO in the world who would do that. I don't know anyone. It's a fact. Who else would do that, Brighton? Who else is pumping the pumps, walking the tightrope, sweating through 2 pairs of underwear? Yes, we love you, JR. We love you. Always love you. This is your stage, your company. You're the CEO. That's how it is. And so when I think about, at 18 years old, I was definitely the smartest child in my family. I was definitely, Mark, I'm going to call you out for being on your phone. No, just kidding. I was definitely the smartest child in my family. The problem was the school didn't believe that because I had a hard time going to school. I just knew that there was so much more out there besides what I was being told to do by sitting in a hardback chair, and nobody really cared about where I was going or what I wanted to do. And I knew my whole life that my life would be serving other people. Because when I was 16 years old, I was in trouble and suspended for a day for doing people's makeup behind the bleachers. And I used to love to put on blue eyeshadow. I was really good at it, Maria, really good at it. And everybody would ask me, will you do my eye makeup? And I was like, of course, meet me behind the bleachers. And I would do everybody's makeup behind the bleachers. The problem was I would miss first and second period. And so I got in school suspension and I was in trouble. And my dad was tough. He was a tough dad. He wasn't one of those guys like my husband. My husband was the greatest father on the planet. He would show up for everything, be there for everybody. He instilled belief in his children, his grandchildren, his whole life. And my dad was tougher. I don't remember growing up and him saying, Loren, I love you. You make me proud. And by the way, Daddy, I love you. I forgive you no matter what. I'm not a grudge holder at all. And our parents give us what they can give us. They only know what to give us. So stop being a victim of whatever happened and let it go. Because you can be a victor. You can succeed. You deserve the best. You are the best. You are the best. Nobody controls your destiny. Nobody can control your life. It's you. It's on you. It's all about you. You're bigger and better than that. You're bigger and better than that. You are the greatest. You have so much love and heart in you. You have more. Look at this room, guys. Where else on earth does this happen? Nowhere. And that's why I say, and you'll hear Elizabeth say it, and Drayton say it, and Allison say it, and Colin say it, and Dawn and Lisa say it, that you have to stay in the atmosphere. And so when I was 18, my father used to tell me, you know what? You're not going to amount to nothing. You're not going to amount to nothing. Anybody else have a parent like that? Let me see your show of your hands. Don't be embarrassed. We are here to self-discover this morning. We are here to create self-awareness, self-worth. Okay. If you didn't have a parent that did that, God bless you, because it's a tough thing, because you want your parents' acceptance. You want your parents to be able to tell you how great you are. Now, my mom would do everything she could to make up for it. She'd be like, you're going to be great one day. Don't listen to him. You're going to see, you're going to be special one day, Loren. You're my favorite. What I didn't know is she was telling Mark the same thing. But I was 18, and my dad said, I had just met my boyfriend, J.R. Reitinger. And my dad did not like him at all. Not at all. He's 38. I was 18. What in the world could this guy possibly be doing? And he thought for sure, Joe, right? He thought for sure he sold drugs. What my dad didn't know is Jared didn't have any money. He didn't have money, he didn't have a car. Our big date was Wendy's, right, Joe? You went to that super bar with us many a nights. But I fell for this guy hard. And I loved him, everything about him. Now, he never back then told me how much he loved me. He kind of let me sweat it out, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. So if my mic stops working, we have a problem because I'm dripping under here. But that's okay. We do everything together. And he told me, he said, you're not going to amount to nothing. Wake up. I said, wake up where? I was 18. He said, well, we're going to get you a job. I said, well, I have a job. My boyfriend's talking about starting the internet one day. The World Wide Web. Remember that? It was called the World Wide Web. Mark was like, we're going to be in the World Wide Web. We just didn't know where yet. We didn't have a computer yet. But Jared was talking about, Joe, we're going to be in the World Wide Web. Right? Hey, Jordan. And so he's like, you're going to go get a job. You're going to become a flight attendant for Eastern Airlines. Now, the problem, everybody knows, and if you've heard my story, you can just pretend you haven't, is that everybody knows I was afraid to fly, but that didn't seem to stop my dad. Now, back in the day, to be a flight attendant, Mark, you remember this, right? I mean, he shook me out of that bag, said, get dressed. Back in the day, you want to talk about a Me Too world? It was embarrassing. Women had to dress up, wear short skirts, red lipstick, long hair. And at that moment, I fit the bill. I was cute back then, really cute. So it was like, you go get this job. They're going to pay you $28,000 a year. You're going to have 7 days off a month. Like it was some big deal. Don't people get 7 days off a month in the real world out there? I was confused. And I told Dad, I don't want to be a flight attendant. I have no interest in being a flight attendant for Eastern Airlines, Dad. I don't even like to fly. He said, well, you don't have a choice. You're going to amount to something and not nothing, so this is what you got to do. The whole way, I was cursing my mother. Like, Mom, you should divorce him. He's an awful dad. I'm definitely not going to be a flight attendant for Eastern Airlines. Please don't make me do this. She's like, babe, just go. We'll figure it out. I get up there on Holden Road, Mark, in Greensboro. Line of 200, 300 people outside. I couldn't believe how many people wanted to fly the friendly skies. I was not one of them. I was scared to death. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening to me. Why do I have to do this? This cannot be my fate. And all I kept thinking about was that we were going to be on the World Wide Web in my head. And I didn't know how I was going to get back out. Because back then there was no Ubers to call. I didn't have a cell phone. And my dad parked right in the front parking space outside waiting. 4 hours later, Joe Boyer, do you remember this? 4 hours later, they called me up to the front. Said, well, hello, Loren Ashley, how are you? What makes you want to fly the Eastern Airlines friendly sky? I said, not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Well, what brings you here today? My father. Well, you must love all the perks of being a flight attendant. Not a chance. I'm afraid to fly. I don't want to be here. In fact, if I have to fly, I want to fly US Air. I did everything I could, right, Joe, not to get that job. Everything I could. It was a 10-minute interview. I thought, definitely don't get it, because everybody else's interview went for like 20 minutes, 25. 10 minutes, I got in the car and I was like, whew, definitely out of that. My father made me get here. I said all the right things, definitely not to get that job. 4 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail, said you've been hired by Eastern Airlines. You want to talk about, yeah. You want to talk about traumatized? I was traumatized. And I had to tell JR, my boyfriend. Now I was telling him, like, what do? I love you, I love you. And he used to, back in the day, he would never say I love you in the early days, right, Mark? He said, when I love you, you'll know. That's how he got me, by the way. I said, what do you mean I'll know? He goes, because I'll love you for the rest of my life. And when I love you, he used to tell me 2 things before I married him. When I love you, you'll know for the rest of your life, and you can never tell me that you'll ever divorce me. And I said, well, why would I say that? He said, I just want to let you know you could never divorce me, because if you tried, I'll kill you. That was his big thing. And I love you to the end of my life, to my very last breath, till we meet again. I always tell him, whenever you're ready for me, baby, just call for me. I'll come running. Come running whenever you want me. So anyway, I got the letter, and I told Jared, what am I going to do? They're telling me I have to report to Atlanta on Friday for training. He goes, well, you got to tell them you're not going. I was like, I don't know what to do. Long story short, I get home. I tell my mom, this can't be happening to me. My dad's like, congratulations. You got the job. You're going to be amazing. You're going to Atlanta. Now, first of all, I'm afraid of Atlanta. I never left my hometown hardly. I don't want to go to Atlanta. I go for 4 weeks. I'm miserable, stuck in a room with 4 other girls. Everybody's fighting over who has the prettier red lipstick. And all I could think about is the World Wide Web and this guy. All I could think about is this man named JR, who'd been my boyfriend for literally only 3 months. And I'd fallen mad in love with him, Tom. I see you out there. And when I got home after that training, they were going to assign me where I would go. And I came home, and JR looked at me and said, listen to me. I like you a whole lot. A whole lot. But you're going to become a version of you that you don't want to be. And if you want to become the version you're meant to be, you got to go home and tell your dad you're not going to become who he wants you to be. And it was the greatest lesson of my life. It was the greatest lesson of my life because I got home and I paced that floor, Kevin, till I saw my dad's car lights pull into the driveway. Mark, do you remember how his lights would pull in at the front, like at the kitchen light? My mom would usually say, go to bed, he's here. That's how I grew up. Scared to death of my dad. She's like, go to bed, he's home. Remember? Well, especially if I skipped school. I was definitely in trouble. That was a problem. I just wanted to do the World Wide Web and do JR. That was it. Those are the only two things I wanted to do, okay? And so I saw his headlights come on, and I was pacing the floor, and I decided to go out to the mailbox, and I grabbed the mail, and I was opening up the mail, and I built up the confidence to go tell him I was done. I am not going to become the version of the person you want me to be, which happens to so many people. How many of you understand what I mean when you become a version of somebody else that you're not supposed to be? And at some point, I don't care how old you are, it is up to you to wake up and say, you know what, I don't give a crap if I'm 50, 60, 70. If I'm not the person I was meant to be, it's never too late to change it. You can be whoever you want to be, whenever you want to be it, right, Michael? You can do whatever you want to do. It is never too late to say it's up to me. I'm going to make this happen for me. Do you guys agree out there? And so I opened up the mail and I was working up a sweat because I knew I was going in there. My mom was sweating more than me. She was so scared because she was one of those incredible mothers, and she was probably going to take the brunt. He would probably be screaming at her, what kind of kid do you have? Oh, she's going to be a nothing one day. She's going to be your daughter only. You know, that's how some parents do it. And I didn't like that. I didn't want it to be on her. And as I was opening up the mail, I got a letter from Eastern. And it said, Eastern Airlines has gone out of business. Now wait. I was going in there to tell him, just so you guys know. I went in there and I couldn't wait to tell him. I put the news on and it was everywhere, right, Mark? Eastern Airlines has gone bankrupt. And it said, you have now been hired by Loren Airlines. I tore that letter up so quick, it didn't matter. And I went in there and I told him, Dad, my days of flying the friendly skies are over. I'm going to the World Wide Web. And that was it. And I did it. And I did it because it's important to believe in yourself. And it made me think how many times we become a version that you don't recognize in the mirror. How many of us become somebody we were never supposed to be? And I remember thinking if it wasn't for JR, I would have taken the wrong road. I would have been down the wrong road, not done what I wanted to do. And Joe, you know how strict my dad was. And after that, I went inside the house, packed my bags, and moved into JR's house. I showed up with my bags. He said, what are you doing? I just like you a lot. And I said, I'm coming to live with you. And he's like, we didn't talk about this. I said, there's nothing to talk about. I ain't got nowhere to go. And I moved in with JR, and that was the beginning of our love story for 36 years. And it was an incredible story, right, Natalia? It was an incredible story of love, Kim, that changed my life. And he was right. Nobody would ever love me like that. Ben Affleck told me recently, you don't have to look for love anymore. You've had it all. All you need to do is stay in your atmosphere, stay in your community. We all love you. You stay right where you belong. And he was right, because once you have that type of love, there's nowhere else to go. You have it all. And I will always have him by my side. And so we began to do the World Wide Web. And he would get Mark and I in the car and Joe, and it was just the three of us back then, right? And JR. And he'd make us drive from city to city, state to state, talking about the business. And there'd be like, 5, 6 people in the room. Now, you know JR. For those of you who know JR, God bless you. If you've ever been trained by JR, you have been touched. You have been touched by an angel, by a gift of God, by somebody who put belief in people when they didn't have it themselves. I was 18, guys. How much belief could I have in me? Not a lot. I didn't come from, my mom was great, I told you, but women, girls need strong men in their lives. We need that. And that doesn't mean to follow, that means to lead with. Okay? And so I needed JR. I loved him. I loved listening to him. So when we would go city to city, state to state, we'd drive up Terre Haute, Indiana, Dallas, Texas, San Antonio, and I'll never forget, we were in Dallas, Texas. And God bless JR. He's showing the business. One day, people are going to be buying everything they want and need from the World Wide Web. They're going to be buying their shoes, their socks, their jackets, their clothes, their vitamins, whatever they want, lipstick. And I'd listen to him tell the story just if there were like 10,000 people in the room. He would never change. He was always consistent. He talked the same way, which was part of his success. I studied him. All these years. How can he do this? He would talk to 4 people the same way, James and Marion, as he did for 10,000. And he would do it, and he would say, one day there's going to be the World Wide Web, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to pay people for only getting 2 people to do what the average person could do. And by the end of the meeting, all 4 people would look at him like a rat died in their mouth. They looked at him like he was crazy. They couldn't believe it. And he'd walk out of that meeting, and I'd be thinking to myself, like, wow, is this thing really going to happen? Because, people weren't looking like they were excited, right? I didn't know that they were going to join us. I wasn't even sure if I was going to join them. I was confused at that point. I was 18, and he'd be like, wow, what a great meeting. Wasn't that, Loren? What a fantastic meeting that was. And Joe and I'd be looking at each other like, yo, was he in the same meeting we were at? He said, wow, it was a fantastic meeting. I was like, well, Jared, they didn't seem as excited as you are. He said, look at me dead in the eye, and he said, doesn't matter what they think. What matters is what you think. What matters is if you believe in me, Loren. What matters is if you'll do it with me, because I'm going to do it with you. Do you believe in me? That's all I care about. Do you believe in me? That's what he would say. And when he would do that, that was it for me. And I say, I believe in you. I'm going the distance with you. I'm on the journey with you. I already moved my stuff in your house, so I believe in you. I'm staying with you. And so I was in awe. But the next thing frightened me. He said, Loren, you're going to be amazing at this. When you speak, when we get to San Antonio tomorrow, baby, you're going to be incredible. You'll feel that belief I have inside of me. I was like, well, bro, I'm 18. I never spoke in public before. Number 1 fear of everybody in the world is public speaking. You want me to speak in San Antonio? Well, that's impossible. I don't speak. He said, well, you do tomorrow, baby. I said, please, baby, you're much better at this than me. He said, you are the best female speaker I've ever listened to in my life. I said, well, that's really impossible because you've never heard me speak in front of a crowd of people. He said, trust me. So I get there. I'm trembling. You think I'm sweating right now? I was dripping. You know what Jared was like to drift. I was one of those days, okay? And I got up there, and he's like, all you have to do is just tell him your name and a little bit about Market America and our products and that we're going to be shopping online one day. Right, Joe? And I got up there, and I said, there's like 10 people in the room. And he's like, you know, like JR, like thumbs up in the back of the room and stuff. And you're just kind of like, yo, man, I can't believe this is happening. And I get up there, and I'm like, hi, I'm Loren Ashley, and I just passed out in front of everybody. Out cold, on the floor, wake up, and there I am, just everybody's looking at me like this. And JR looks at me and he goes, these people, it was their fault. They had the air conditioning off. This would have happened to anyone. Of course you passed out. This isn't your fault. Get up, get up, get up. You're the best speaker I've ever heard in my life. Get up, he said. What do you think that moment did to me? It changed my life. When I got up, I wanted to run and break up with him. I wanted to break up with him. I was done. I was scared out of my mind. And he said, Loren, listen to me. You are the greatest female speaker I've ever met. You just haven't heard yourself yet. We got to give it time. You will be the greatest female speaker I've ever met. And he told me the same thing the day before he died. Now listen to me. What if he gotten in that car and told me, you were right. You're not a great speaker. Why don't you stick to driving? Why don't you help me and Mark with admin? He didn't do that. What if he said that to me? I wouldn't be up here today. You know what? Who is in your ear? Who's telling you things about you that they don't know? And who's telling you things about you that you can be? Those are the people you should be listening to. Don't you listen to anybody tell you you can't be something. He wasn't that guy, and don't you listen. You guys build leaders. You build leaders. That is your job. We do not build followers. Don't you let somebody in your ear that's not building you up. And that changed my life. That moment made me realize how powerful JR was. That he could move people. Thank you, JR. That he could thank you. That he could move people. That he could move people with his words by creating belief in them. Remember what he used to say? I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself. And he did that for me too. And I told you it wasn't until he passed away that I figured that out. Because we're so busy in the moment of just living that we forget that. And then when it's time to perform, you just fall apart. And then I kept hearing him say to me, get up, Loren. Get up. You can do this. And so I want to make sure that you don't miss the message. The message is this. You are the most incredible, unique, beautiful individual in the world. There is no one like you. There is nobody else like you. You have the power. You have the power to transform your life by putting yourself around the right people who will build you up and help you see your worth. And let me tell you how you create self-worth. 2 words, serving others. Serving others. My job is to serve others and serve others only. Now, when I talked about this segment, I thought, how do we help people become the best versions of themselves? And don't worry, if we don't finish this morning, we can definitely do some more this afternoon, because I officially feel like Jared, because I have the whole stage today. How's that? I want to bring up three very, very special individuals. First, I want to bring up our new vice president, Christian Vasquez, who's worked with JR for 15, 16 years, has been amazing behind the scenes, one of our best friends. That's right, Andrew Weissman. Andrew Weissman, our vice president, Andrew Weissman, who we love so much. Love you. You were incredible all weekend. And of course, one of my best friends and our new beauty manager, our MarketAmericaShop.com beauty manager, Mary Floyd. Mary's in the house. Now, Mary is trembling right now, okay? Yeah, Mary's trembling right now because she's like, please don't make me do this. But we are, and Christian too. And I want to tell you guys something, and Andrew's an expert at this, but we're going to do it anyway because we're going to do something that has not been done yet. And you can take a seat because we're going to be here for a minute, but I love you. You can stand up as many times as you want. You know, I'll just let you keep standing if you want. But, you know, one thing I wanted to do is make people realize that whatever your story is, it's powerful. Whatever you've been through, you can turn your pain into purpose like I'm trying to do myself. You can do it with me. Whatever your story is, you get to write it from this moment on. If you haven't been happy with it, you can change it. You don't have to be attached to it. You can rewrite a new chapter. And as we started to talk about this, I wanted to bring out three people to work with me. And I said, guys, I want you to break down your story with everybody on stage so they can see what you've been through, because then we're going to find some people who want to help participate with us in the audience. And now, as soon as I got that, I got three different types of answers here. One was from Andrew that says, I'm not really sure what my story is. Christian was embarrassed of his story. And Mary was afraid to even talk about her story. You are not alone. That's the point in this. You are not alone. You are never alone. And what you will hear today is three beautiful stories with some other people's stories that we will go out and find you and help create some, and there's only the purpose behind this is to create self-worth, self-awareness, that no matter what you've been dealt, we can readjust and fix things. That together we're more powerful to lift each other up and help build each other up. We can do that. And so Christian is one of my best friends. He's always been behind the scenes working with JR for 15, 16 years. Behind the scenes working with him, very important to JR. First person he would call if he wanted to run a project, something very important, really think it through. Always backstage with him. Only the person behind closed doors, Micah Breckenridge, too, who's over there. By the way, we love him. He's incredible. Mike Breckenridge deserves a big round of applause. He's been doing this so many years with JR and I love him so much. Thank you, Mike. Love you. Love you. JR used to say, I can't live without Mike and can't live without Christian. But you know, it made me think about your story, and if you don't mind, I'd like you to share it with everybody. Sure. Let's show him some love, guys, because they're scared.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so you heard Loren's story. She could have easily gone down the path her father chose for her. Or what would have happened if when she fainted, JR said, it's okay, baby, you can just drive us. I didn't have a JR, and most of us don't. I grew up in a single-parent household. Growing up, I was always a great student and excelled in school. But as I got older, like many of us, my circle began to change. I was involved with the wrong people at the wrong time, in the wrong places. Maybe that's something some of you can relate to.
Yes.
Thank you. I was headed towards disaster, and one day, all of that came to a head. I was at a gas station at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, bleeding profusely from a gunshot wound, being rushed to the hospital with a bullet literally less than a centimeter from my spine. I remember begging the nurses as they wheeled me into surgery to let me call my mother. She didn't know what had happened, and I needed her to hear my voice before I went under. That's the call you never want to make. I'll never forget that feeling. I woke up with a colostomy bag on my stomach and months of recovery ahead of me. When I finally got back on my feet months later, I moved back into my house, which I shared with 3 other roommates. It was a little after my 21st birthday, and I remember sitting in my room feeling like I was right back where I started. And in the same vicious cycle, I knew I had to escape.
Wow.
I didn't know what was next for me, but I knew something had to change. I walked downstairs and I told my roommates I was leaving and they could have everything I owned. I packed a small bag and I never turned back. So I always say to Loren that one of life's greatest hacks is leaving your hometown. And that move led me towards JR, Loren, Mark, and Market America, and a brand new circle of friends and influence. That's why we always talk about surveying your environment and evaluating your circle. You don't need to encounter tragedy in order to change your circle. You may just need to change it.
Yeah.
Loren and JR believed in me before I even believed in myself. They would introduce me to people and edify me so much that I started to believe that I was that person they were describing. My confidence grew and grew. And look at me now, on stage talking to you all. Thank you, thank you. And thank you.
I'm so proud of Christian because he was always embarrassed to share that story. And I told him, I said, do you realize how incredibly special you are? How many people do you know at 21 years old, after getting involved with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, getting a gunshot, which is really, it's messy looking, we won't show him right now, but messy looking, but would go home after recovery after so many months and make a decision of 21 that if I don't change my life, I won't be around anymore. Doesn't happen. And that you did that, and you did that on your own. And so whatever we've dealt with in the past doesn't mean it's our future. And that's what I want you to get out of this. You see, sometimes you'll see your leaders like Elizabeth or Drayton or Brett or Allison, and they'll tell you, or Mark Bernanke or Don and Lisa, and they'll ask you to do things that don't make sense to you. But they're asking you to do them so you build your confidence that you can and that you're able to. When I asked him to do this, you think he wanted to get on the stage today? No. But I told him, once you do it, you'll never want to come off. And it's not about being on the stage. It's about pushing him to be the person he's meant to be. It's exactly what JR did to me. Do you see the comparison? He did the same thing to me. He pushed me to be the best version of myself. And that's what JR did for him. And that's what I did for him and Mark. Because we wanted him to see that you made the right move. Now, sometimes you don't have a situation where you can take a left turn or a right turn. But that doesn't mean you're stuck. You're here. You're here in the room with us. We're not going to let you go if you need help. Whatever you need, I'm here to help you. We will dissect it. I don't care about Tony Robbins seminars. I respect him, but he can't do what we can do. You guys stay together. He can't do what you can do. You build leaders. You build leaders. You build people. You lift people up. We are different. We move different. You're unique. We stay connected. I think it's beautiful what Tony does with the Date with Destiny and all those things. Wonderful. I've been to them. The problem is those people don't stay connected like we do. We stay connected. If there's somebody in this room today, I will find you if you don't have a friend, and I will make, is 6,000 friends enough for you, by the way? Because that's what we got. Nobody's gonna let you be alone. We're gonna do this together. Are you in with me or not? I love you. By the way, Mary has been one of my biggest blessings, a friend of JR and I and Amber for 20 plus years. Has been there with me. She took on this role, by the way, by JR before JR left us. He wanted her to do it, and you'll hear why in a minute. But she has been a driving force behind me over the last year and a half, reminding me that it's okay to have grace for myself. Reminding me on those days that I didn't feel I could do it or make it happen, telling me that you have the power to do it. Look at the letters he wrote you. Look what he wrote. Look what he said. Even built me up when he wasn't here. Left me all types of letters for no reason in a place I never expected to find them. And she would tell me all the time, you cannot stop. And she was the reason I have that journal. She's the reason that I do positive affirmations every day now and remind myself. And so her story is magical because she never, ever really talked about her story, even though deep in my soul, I knew it in my heart. And so when I finally got her to do it over the last few weeks and talk it through in front of everybody, it was a real breakdown for us. Mm-hmm. It was, and I love you.
I love you too.
You're gonna kill it.
I love you too.
Let's give it up for Mary!
Oh my God.
You got Team Philadelphia loves Mary.
I know. I love you guys too. Well, today's your lucky day. Thank you guys. I want to welcome you guys to the therapy session with Loren Reidinger. It's definitely been an intense, couple weeks. I gotta say, obviously, Loren's amazing, but to sit across from a table, one-on-one, or even the three of us, can be a little intimidating when she's sitting across from you and asking you personally what your story is, what your why is, what your struggles were. Even like, I will say on a daily basis, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about my story necessarily. I think a lot of us are kind of in survival mode, living life, and just kind of, on autopilot, right? So when she asked, it's definitely a little intimidating, because she's obviously such an amazing speaker and tells the best stories.
I love you. So do you. So do you.
And clearly I can relate to her story about fainting, because I'm definitely feeling a little woozy right now. And I can also resonate with Christian's story. I also grew up raised by a single mother of 4 children who was busy hustling to provide the best she could for her family. I was a very independent child, but I was extremely, extremely shy, like almost debilitatingly shy. I remember it was so extreme. We had a convenience store growing up across the street from the house, and we would go there to buy candy all the time. And I remember always forcing my sister to go to the register because I was terrified to have the interaction, even like with the cashier. And I mean, it wasn't just there. As we grew up, anywhere we went shopping, whatever, I'd always be like pushing her to the register to make the purchase, because it was just those type of little interactions were so difficult for me. School was also pretty challenging because I struggled with learning disabilities, and that really took a toll on my confidence also. And I realized at that time in my life, even though I didn't have anybody tearing me down, I also didn't have somebody building me up. And I think that had a huge impact on my self-worth, going forward in life. I remember going into my adult years, I had a really strong desire and talent to become a makeup artist. I took the classes, got the certificates, in hopes of empowering myself with the knowledge and experience that would give me the confidence to pursue it. And to be honest, that never happened, unfortunately. Struggling with shyness and low self-confidence really affects your ability to dream big and set big goals. And I honestly don't remember anyone ever sitting me down and teaching me how to do that or even asking me, what my goals and dreams
And
were.
let me just stop you because I want you to understand. You are, first of all, you're beautiful and kind and loving and so beautiful and vulnerable. And people who talk about their learning disabilities and their confidence levels, but the fact when she's just said that nobody ever sat me down to teach me to write down my goals or dream big. Let me tell you something. Nobody did that to me, him, or any of us because society has failed us in every way that way when we were growing up. There was nobody telling us dream big, be big, write down your goals. Not school, not society, not governments, nothing. They failed our children. Stop letting them fail you. Stop letting them fail you. That is not her fault. That is not her fault. She does not own that. That is not hers to own. That doesn't belong to her. Nobody did that for you because they haven't done it to any of us. And the fact that she was embarrassed to tell me that she didn't have big dreams because she was sitting across the table from me. And for the moment, I felt like Mary was intimidated for the first time when she was telling me that towards me. And I said, wait a minute, I'm your best friend. I shouldn't be intimidating you. Just so you know, I didn't dream big either. I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. And that's because we have been failed. And that is not your fault. And I want you to stop walking around carrying baggage that you didn't pack. Do you understand? It's not yours to own. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. You don't own it. Get rid of the baggage that's not yours that you didn't pack. Keep it going. I love you.
I really did. I took a pause that evening. We were sitting there talking, and they're looking at me like, what are you going to say? And I was like, I don't know. I got to be honest. I'm kind of embarrassed to say I really didn't have big dreams and goals. And she turned and looked at me, and she was like, neither did I. And I was like, you assume, you know what I mean, when you see her and watch her like that, she grew up with these huge aspirations and goals and dreams, and it was very comforting, to know that she didn't either. we were in the same boat.
It's important to be self-aware. It's important to create self-awareness so we stop owning the things that we don't need to own, that it's not your fault, that we can move past it if we address it and we become aware of it. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel that? You got that?
So yeah, this level of shyness and self-confidence, obviously impacted my friendships, my relationships. Obviously communicating is really difficult, communicating your needs, setting boundaries with people, in relationships, friendships, even with family. And as I've gotten older and explored my purpose more and have become more self-aware, I've definitely discovered that my greatest growth has come from operating outside of my comfort zone.
Yes.
I also didn't have much of a choice in the matter. But it has. And one of my superpowers that I've discovered is also being of service, supporting and uplifting the people I love and care about.
And she has done that because Mary has slept with me out of the last 15, 16 months that Jared's passed away. More than half of those nights when I would cry my eyes out to go to sleep, she would comfort me. So thank you for that.
And having a positive impact on somebody's life grows your self-confidence.
Yes. Say that again. Don't miss what she just said.
Having a positive impact on someone else's life grows your self-confidence.
Very important. If you want to be a better version of yourself, if you want to be a better version of yourself, serve others. Serve others.
And when you operate from a vibration of service and love, you attract that back into your life. So, it's really twofold. You're growing your self-confidence, and you're, attracting that back into your life. So the people that you help are benefiting, and you're benefiting. It's really a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think people really underestimate the power of having someone in their lives that believe in them. Loren, JR, and Amber, their belief in me has had a huge impact on me. After being a stay-at-home mom for almost 20 years, it's been a real full circle moment for me to work with them and the team and tap back into the passions and talents that I wasn't confident enough to pursue in the past. And as a friend, I appreciate Loren so much because she continues to push me past my comfort zone, extremely past my comfort zone.
I just do that sometimes.
And has gifted me with the confidence to stand up here with you guys on this stage. And I just want to reiterate that it's so important to surround yourself with the right community and the right people.
Love you. You're awesome. And I want you to understand that vulnerability is what helps get us right. And I know that many of you do this with your groups and things, but, and I know that Team Philadelphia, you do it a lot on Sundays and Saturdays, and yeah, I do many Zooms with you guys, and, I'll be in there, and you guys are doing, like, training sessions on breaking it down and helping people build up their self-confidence, and yesterday, building people's bodies. You guys are doing, like, 150 push-ups every 3 minutes. There's all types of stuff going on out there. I was like, yo, be careful walking out there. You might be doing push-ups out there, but it's great. And here's the thing, guys. When you can be around a group of people that you're not afraid to talk about the baggage you've been carrying around with you, and they tell you just drop it and let it go, and we'll work with you to help build you as a leader, right, Joanne? Right, Nina? Right, Ben? That is the thing to do. There is nowhere else in this world that I know you can do that and feel safe doing it and actually make progress. The idea of today and this morning is not just to share these stories. Does anybody connect with the stories? Yes. Does anybody feel? Because don't let there be an age limit. Remember, JR started when he was 38. Mary just got herself involved. She would never put boundaries on her life. Always everybody before Mary. We used to say there's something about Mary. It's true. Always special, always there for everybody. But you have to put something on you. What about you? Who's filling your cup up besides me? Somebody else has to be there. Because let me tell you something, you hear me talk about it all the time. If somebody's not lifting you up at home, you're in the wrong place. I don't care what time it is. You're in the wrong place. And so, Andrew, when it came to Andrew, it was a different conversation, right? Because, tell him, Andrew. Mark's gonna let Mark. He's like waiting for it.
Before I do that, I just want to let you know how jealous I am of Christian's mauve suit.
I know, it's beautiful.
Mauve suit.
As you should be.
Right. Well, what's interesting about this, when you asked me to tell you my story.
Well, I got them to tell me their story, which I kind of know everybody's story. That's why I asked you guys, because nobody ever wants to talk to me about their story. But I know them. So I know what their deep-rooted pain is, and I know where it comes from. And Andrew was like, well, I don't have a story. And I was like, well, you do.
Yeah, and you told it to me.
And I told it to him.
Which was great.
But was it true or not?
And it was true. Well, I've known you for over 30 years, so you knew my story. You've known the journey, and it's...
Well, he didn't want to come up here and be like, well, I don't want to talk about something. I don't have a story as good as them. I said, yeah, you do. You just haven't talked about it. Have you ever heard Andrew tell his story before?
We're going to hear it now.
Come on, Andrew.
All right, so... I'm very, very fortunate. Philadelphia. I didn't do that much. Thank you, guys. So I have been very, very fortunate to have grown up in a very, very stable household. My parents were very, very supportive, and just extremely fortunate from that standpoint.
You were actually very privileged in a good way. Not everybody grows up with two great parents telling them they can be whatever they want. We didn't. So, and successful family.
Successful family, great, did well in school and
could have all the nice, finer things in life, which we couldn't. So it was privilege in a good way, but it's still privilege.
yes.
Mark, he was privileged. Not like you and I, we weren't privileged at all like that. Just saying.
Yeah. So,
Let's be honest. We're going to have some breakthroughs today. Honesty's the best policy.
what's your name? What did you say?
Right, Jordan?
So I didn't even hear what you said. So coming out of college, ultimately, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do necessarily. I knew I was good with people, right? And I started to do job interviews, and interestingly enough, I got turned down, no job. And I was like, what is going on here, But finally, I landed a sales position with a major carpet manufacturing
How old were you?
company. I was 22 years old. And I took the position partly because they had a very advanced sales training program, same type of training program IBM used back then and several major corporations. So I thought it would be a great training ground, right? Did that. And after you complete the training, they assign you a territory. My territory is the northeastern part of Pennsylvania. And so I moved to Allentown, Pennsylvania after that. And the only thing I knew about Allentown was the fact that it was a Billy Joel song, right?
And we're living here in Allentown.
So I packed up my Honda Accord, put my VCR and my TV and all my clothes, and drove to Allentown, not having a place to live, not knowing where I was going to live. So I moved into the Red Roof Inn for a couple of weeks, which is so luxurious. The Red Roof Inn. And back then, no cell phone, no internet, obviously, and it was absolutely miserable. Got an apartment, worked out of my apartment, and my job ultimately as a manufacturer's representative was to call on carpet retailers. So I was always on my own, driving around, no cell phones, and I was really miserable, unhappy, didn't really meet anybody, and it was not a good time in my life, Of course, I had met JR and Loren prior to that, and I attended an event. But, I did well financially. At that young of an age, I was doing well, but I wasn't happy at all. Ultimately not fulfilled. Wasn't obviously fulfilling my purpose, and it wasn't until I really had a conversation with JR, and he talked to me about the fact the only difference between him and me at the time was our thinking, right? And he talked to me about the fact that there's no better feeling in the world than helping other people achieve their goals and their dreams. You can't give somebody that experience. You have to experience it for yourself. So it didn't take me long to recognize that I needed to do something different.
And what's interesting about Andrew's story, and I reminded him, first of all, at 22 years old, how many of you are picking up, moving to a place that you know nobody, and that you're Allentown, Pennsylvania, steel workers, not a whole lot of activity, didn't know anybody there, 22 years old, doesn't know where he's going to live, moving into Red Roof Inn, trying to find an apartment, and he figures out that even though he's making money, something's missing. And that's very important because we don't always know what our purpose is at 22, right, Brett? We don't know, but something's not connecting. Something's missing, correct?
Right, so exactly. So I guess the timing obviously was right for me. The timing was right for JR, Loren, Dennis, Kevin, Mark, Joe, the team. And I moved from Allentown, Pennsylvania to Greensboro, North Carolina. And that started my journey, with Market America. And of course, that was a great move.
But that moment is what I want people to recognize. Because Andrew didn't really think he had a story. But the story is really special. Because when you can go somewhere and not know anybody, and pack everything you own in a car and drive to some town that you have no idea who lives there, you have no friends, no cell phones, no way to connect, and you're making money. Okay, at 22 years old, now he wasn't rich, but he was doing pretty well. And the fact of the matter is he didn't rely on his family, but he was going down the same path as Marty had on carpet. But he realized when he got there, there was a big piece of his life missing that he wasn't fulfilling. And that was, he didn't know what it was till he walked into a meeting, an arena one day and saw JR serving others.
Exactly, and had a conversation with him and spent time with him.
That's very important. You will never improve your self-worth unless you're giving back to other people. It doesn't happen.
So, of course, I traveled the world with JR, the team. I helped a lot of people succeed in our business, and that enabled me to fulfill my purpose. And, of course, that continues, right? I'm a lot happier now. It's been so, I can't believe I used to be the youngest.
Especially happy you have a beautiful girlfriend, Heather. You're doing great.
That's very nice of you to say, Loren. And yeah, that is great. But it's, and of course,
very
the journey
shy
continues.
still. He's very shy still.
The journey continues. And we're going to continue, right? It's just the beginning. So then JR said, listen, you should move to Miami. You guys should come to Miami. And went from Greensboro to Miami. Of course, at the time, I was traveling all around the world. We'd launched Australia, all around the country. And then
but you didn't know anybody in Miami but JR and I.
But you guys. And it was a great time all those years in Miami.
And my point is, would you agree that understanding that you couldn't put your finger on it right away when something was missing? Because you were already an unfranchised owner, but you weren't really taking advantage of that.
Big point that I didn't make. I was an unfranchised owner in college, but the real truth of the matter was I didn't have a real appreciation for the business and what it provided and why people were attracted to it, because I was just doing things that people do in college. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
But of course, as the journey began with JR and the team, you quickly realize just how valuable our enterprise and business really is, and that by helping other people succeed, of course, it ensures your own success, but more importantly, it enabled me to fulfill my purpose.
And I think, what you said, that JR said was so right, because I recall him saying the same thing to me too, and to Mark, which was, you will never know how good it feels to help others until you do it yourself. And that is so key. That's why I talk about leadership. And leadership is not about having the most followers. It's about how many leaders can you create. How many more leaders can you create? And that's what that self-worth will do, self-awareness will do. But we can't fix any of it unless we have some self-awareness, right? And so that was a hard conversation with all three of us. And there was a couple moments where Andrew was like, I just want to think things through. And Mary was like, I just need to digest this, because it's hard when you talk about your story out loud amongst the people you love, that you spend a lot of time with.
It's true. One point that you wanted me to make that I forgot, when I went to Greensboro from Allentown, Pennsylvania, I made less money with Market America, primarily because JR ensured that his team had to earn their way and lead by example and experience the development of the business, and I really appreciated, of course, that. But yeah.
So, what I want to do is and I wish we could do it with everybody up here, but I want to see if anybody would like to help participate in this project up here. And we're going to figure out how to expand it more over time. And the next event, we'll bring them, sorry, that's me falling. We'll bring them up here and talk about what we've done, because we're going to guide them, coach them, not just today, but for the next 6 months, and mentor them to help get them to where they really need to be. And whatever it is, counseling, help, whatever it is, we're going to do it. Zoom sessions, all of that. But it takes a breakdown to have a breakthrough, right? You're watching, witness it with me. And you never, pain hurts, but you do have to do what Gary said, what Joe said, is turn it into a purpose, make it a point, use it to help other people. And so I would love, Andrew, if you could help find one person first, just one first, and then Christian, maybe after he gets one, you could go grab one, and bring him up here after we ask him a few questions in the audience. I want to really see who we can help today. Can you help me do that?
Yeah, let's see who we can find.
Does anybody want to work on themselves today? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you want some help. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Oh, he's going out there. He's going out in the crowd.
Let's see what we got back here, Loren.
What do you got? Should you? I know, it's like. That's good.
Let's see here. Let's see
Where's
what we
Christian?
got.
Christian's already out there.
Let's see who we got here.
I'm up here.
All right.
How about you? How about you? Stand up. Stand up.
Yeah, let's give her a big round of applause. It's not easy to get up in front of everybody.
Okay. All right.
So the first thing I'd like to do, first of all, what's your name?
Carletha Murray.
Carlisa. That's a beautiful name. Where are you from?
I'm from Morrisville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
All right. Carlisa. Carlisa. Listening to Christian's story, Mary's story, my story, anything that you could relate to in listening to, the things that they went through and what we went through?
Yes. Especially, actually, both of them, all of you guys, actually. But Christian really struck me because I remember how I lost my sister to violence, and that struck me, and that still hurts.
Wow. Are you, growing up, how was your support system? Do you have a good support
Well, wait,
system?
I wanted to,
Yeah.
can I hear what she said? Did you say you lost your sister?
Yes.
The same way like Christian. But
Murder.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Feeling that moment with you. Love you for sharing that. We're here with you.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And talk to us about your when you were growing up, your support system. Did you have a good support system growing up?
I think I did. My mother especially, she really pushed me, even doing things that I really didn't really want to do. But like Loren, her father kind of pushed her, and like with my mother.
He pushed me out the door.
And like my mom, I went to Catholic school, so if anybody went to Catholic school, you know what that was like. 12 years of Catholic school, the nuns were no nonsense, and so was Emmy Maxwell, no nonsense. So I had a great support system, and she really believed in me. She really helped me.
You're lucky. That's beautiful.
Yeah, she really did.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but she also, I dropped out of college, and she was not happy about that. But I did go back, and I explained to her why I dropped out, because school at that point in time wasn't for me. All I was doing was messing up money. And so I just worked for a couple of years and then went back to school.
Oh, wow. And what about today? Talk to me about your support system today. Do you have people that believe in you, that you're surrounded by, that encourages you to get the things that you want and reach your goals and dreams?
Yeah, this man right here.
Oh, that's awesome.
36 years married, and he has
That's
a
awesome.
support system.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You're a lucky man.
I love that. I love that great support system that she has, and that's fantastic. Beautiful.
So, what do you think, Loren?
I think she's going to get 2 free tickets to Icon just for standing up.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And by the way, thank you for doing that, because it's not easy to share your story. I want you, Andrew, to make sure that we get her information too, so we can include her in some private sessions with us. I want you to find somebody who's really struggling right now with their confidence, their abilities. That's what I'm looking for, okay? But I love you, and I want to thank you for that moment, because you're going to get 2 free tickets to go to Icon, and we're going to help you no matter what. Love you.
I got somebody over here, Loren.
Christian, what you got going over there in the mauve?
Let me start off and just say, when I finish this, I will gotta go over there and give her a hug.
Yes,
That
good
touched
job.
me too. So how you doing today, sir?
I'm pretty good.
What's your name?
Tony Jemison.
So where you from, Tony?
I'm really from New York. I live in North Carolina now.
Okay. Let's give it up for
Wow.
Tony, guys. It takes a
Hey,
lot to stand up here and
Tony.
talk to people. Okay, so similar to what Andrew asked, you heard our stories. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to them. Is there anything that really resonated with you?
Yeah, just really having to, rely on yourself to, a pretty wide degree, and just at some point realizing you have to make a decision, and I really believe that being here, that's absolutely for me. I'll just come out and say it.
Tony,
why I'm here.
Tony, are you, Tony, hi Tony, how are you?
Hey,
Are you here by yourself?
there's some of my team that's
But did
from
you
New
come
York.
by yourself?
Well, I'm actually here by myself, absolutely.
I'm really proud of you for coming here by yourself. I think you're amazing. The fact that you came here by yourself, how long you been doing this business?
Oh, it's a long story. Wow.
Well, give me the short version.
The short version.
How long have you been doing the business?
I've
Or really, how long
Well,
you been in? Let me just say that.
been in this time, I think 2.5 years.
Okay, I love that you say that. Well, guess what? Today's your first day.
Copy that.
Today's your first day.
So, how was your belief system around you growing up?
It's tough. I mean, I love my parents. They're still together. I'm one of 3. I'm the crazy middle child. But, just a belief in myself, I would say, is lacking. I can admit that.
Tony, look at you. You're standing up in front of 6,000 people. I think you're doing damn good. I'm going to give you a standing
Give it up for
ovation.
Tony, please. That's major.
You standing up in front of 6,000 people, bro, talking. You got nothing to be afraid of. We got you. You got more confidence than most people outside, almost everybody outside this room. Really proud of you. You are special. I like Tony to come up here with us.
How about that, Tony? You want to come up with us?
Tony, can you come up here with us?
Come on, Tony. We got you.
Do you mind? Tony, 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 Tony. Mark. Tony, you the man today, baby. Mark Ashley wants to give you a big hug. Let's help Tony up these stairs. God, Tony, I really like you. I've been looking for you.
Thank you for those.
He just hugged me and he said, thank you for doing this. I want you to come sit down with us. Come on and sit down. Let's all sit down so we're all together. You sit right here beside me. How's that? Now, we're going to wait for Andrew. Where's Andrew at? Do you sit down with us first? By the way, Tony, there's nothing more vulnerable when you can put yourself out there and say, you know what? I don't have anybody believe in me. It's been tough. Came here by himself. He's obviously been in the business more than once, I'm assuming. And that's okay. Guess what? He's still here. I got you. By the way, I'm going to be personally working with you for the next 6 months. We're going to be doing it together. Have a seat for a minute. Just sit down, and then I'm going to have you talk in a few minutes. But I'm going to see if Andrew, where is Andrew, by the way? He disappeared.
Hey, Loren. Can you guys hear me?
Andrew, Mark,
Yeah.
you may need to go help Andrew.
No. Okay. You can hear me okay, right?
Yes, we can.
Which-
This is for you, babe. Relax.
She said, oh, crap. Okay. What's your name?
Jan Grams.
Jan Rams. Let's give it up for Jan Rams, ladies and gentlemen.
Grams, like ounces, pounds,
Jan,
grams.
Jan Grams.
Yeah, put the G in there.
We'll put the G in there.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Originally from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, now in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay. Well, of course, in listening to the stories, anything that resonates with you, you can relate to.
A lot of things. This morning, I just kind of broke down, and I got my friends here to help me.
Talk to me a little bit about your upbringing. When you grew up, how was your support system? Do you have people that believed in you as you were growing up and starting your journey?
I grew up in the 60s, I had a great childhood. I was the Girl Scout leader. Everybody followed me. I was the big boss. I was in gymnastics and sports and everything. And it wasn't until I got older, when I was trying to look for that true love, that, life kind of took different turns.
Tell me more about that.
I had a couple of boyfriends, and I guess I was struggling so hard to find love. I was doing the wrong things, hanging with the wrong crowd, and my confidence that used to be in my childhood was starting to go away very fast.
And how did you overcome that, or have you overcome that?
Well, I settled. Instead of thinking that I could find love, I went to find support. Someone I thought that would be supporting me for the rest of my life, financially. I didn't know it was going to be there, physically, inside.
And when you came here this weekend to leadership school, what were you expecting to learn? What were you expecting to get out of these few days?
I've been with Market America for quite a while, and I keep on going, and every time I think I'm gonna, bust and go away, just all of a sudden something happens, and I get a customer order, and I thought, okay, good, I got another day. And I just needed to get that confidence, and I need to really get out there and do that, because I want to be grandma. I got 4 grandkids, and there was nothing more I would learn to be able to stay with them and be with them, but I still got to work.
Jan should come up with us, no?
You think so?
Yes, bring Jan up here.
Come on stage with us?
Okay.
Yes?
You got me.
Okay.
All right, Jan, let's go. Come on, Jan. First of all, Jan, we're going to build her back up. Because somebody tore her down when she got older, and they can't do that here, right?
Okay.
You can't do that here. Because you are special, you are unique, and nobody is like you in the world.
Thank you.
So you know what? This is your day. And we're going to break it down, and we're going to work together, because you've been in it for a while, and you made it clear that you just want to work on your confidence. So that's what we're going to do, not just today, but for the next 6 months. And then we're going to have Jan and Tony back up here in 6 months.
All right.
And we're going to see what happens. Okay?
Thank you.
Come on and sit down with us. I'm going to let her sit right over. Where do you want her to sit? Right here? Yep, right there in the center. I'll put them both in the center. Jan and Tony. And by the way, Tony, what part of North Carolina are you from?
Jacksonville.
I love that. You're gentlemen opening the chair. My husband always opened up the chair for me. Ladies, do not sit down unless somebody's opening the chair for you. Rule. I used to tell my daughter all the time, until your father opens up that chair, never take that seat. Because she will learn that the rest of her life. And you got big shoes. They got big shoes to follow. Somebody has to open up that chair for you. Thank you for doing that, Tony. I appreciate the gentleman. Love that. Oh. Andrew's looking for it. Thank you, Andrew. I love you. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Yes. Listen, it is hard to be up here. And I want to mention something to you guys. We can all do this by thinking about your answer and putting it down on paper and committing to yourself that you can find your weak points and your bright spots and continue to build you to become the very best version of you. And you cannot be better unless you're aware of what's missing. I don't care how much I teach you about the business this afternoon, it never will work unless you fix you. And people don't understand that. I'm not going to go tell you, go recruit 25 people until you fix you. You should be recruiting. You should be a super recruiter. You should be getting as many people as you can to the event, because when you get more people to the event, more income. It's a very simple formula. But I got to work on you first. So that's what we're going to do today, right? So again, I love you guys and I'm proud of you, and we're going to do this big. Where are we starting here today?
We're just going to ask you guys a few questions, just have a conversation. We're all family here. It's open ears, open hearts, and open arms in here.
Speak. Yeah.
What is the thing you like most about yourself? You can grab the microphone.
What's the thing, Tony, you like most about yourself? That's a hard, let me just say this. He just took a deep breath and he's like, oh. You know why it's a hard question? Because most people don't even like compliments. Most people never can tell you what they like about themselves because they've been told their whole life nothing good. And we're going to change that here today. People need to feel good about who they are. What's the thing you like most about yourself, Tony? Let me tell you what I like most about yourself, your vulnerability. The fact that you're up here. I think you're mad cool. I think that you're brave. It's hard to find a guy who's willing to jump up and say, I need more belief. I want more confidence. That's a big deal.
See, that's, I guess, filling the void for that. You know, the best thing I like about myself really is I pursue the best for myself. Well, at least I have it in mind at the very least. I guess pursuit is where I fall short, but you know, I believe at my core I would want the best for, you know, myself and for people around me. Maybe not in that order.
I appreciate that. He wants the best for himself and the people around him. And I think what has happened is he puts other people first.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I really want to be honest. Like at a fault, I really try to be honest. You know, that's
what makes you so great up here, by the way, just so you know. Most people aren't honest with themselves. Because it's hard to look in the mirror when you've been owning stuff that you don't need to own. Everybody's like owning baggage that's not yours to own. It's not your fault that you weren't told that you weren't great. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care how old you are great. You are special. This is just the beginning. And the fact that you've been in this business more than once and haven't stopped, you know it deep in your soul. He's tearing up here, and he's amazing. Jan?
Hello.
Hi.
1, 2, 3. Okay, it's there.
There you are. What do you like most about yourself?
When I think down deep inside, I guess the ability to, if I get down, I still have the faith that I can get up.
Still have that.
It may take a while to get up again, but you just have to keep your heart open, keep your eyes open, try to feel it. Sometimes it's hard to get the feeling back after a while, but like I said, little things may happen in your life, like this, and
This is a big one.
all of a sudden, your heart's going to start growing again. And my heart's always grown, but I always want to give back. I want to make sure people around me succeed, and I'm always going back and trying to push them forward to help them succeed because I feel so much for them.
I love that about you. And that's such a beautiful gift when you want so much for other people. But often what happens is we do what Jan does and we suppress our own feelings. Or we don't put ourselves first. You know, when we're on that airplane and they go through the whole procedure about, you know, God forbid there's an emergency, which is why I didn't want to fly with friendly skies to begin with. But God forbid there's an emergency, they tell you if the oxygen mask are released, please put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then assist others. We have to take care of ourselves first. We have to put ourselves first, and we have a tendency to do that for so many other people, and it's a beautiful thing. But we have to bring that heart back out for you and remind you that self-love is the most important type of love. It is so important to have self-love because that's what gets us to where we need to be. And we can do a better job of serving others if we love ourselves. But I think that that's a beautiful gift that you have, and I'm glad you're up here with us. I really am. I can't hear you, hon. We can't hear you. Can we turn Christian's mic up because we can't hear?
So that was a beautiful answer you guys both gave. But what do you struggle with most about yourself personally? What do you struggle with about yourself the most personally?
What's your biggest struggle for yourself? I think we're having a hard time with Christian's mic, but we could use another handheld if we need.
Okay.
What do I struggle the most? I would have to say the belief in myself. I always feel like I had big dreams and I thought big. I actually had a very close friend years ago. He would always think big, like we were car guys, and he would say, yeah, we're gonna get this and that, and all these elaborate things to these cars, and it's like, dude, you don't have any money. You know, and neither did I. So it was like, it kind of frustrated me at first, you know what I mean? Because like every time I'd hang out with him, he'd always be doing, talking about this big stuff. But I knew it felt good, I liked it. And it was like I appreciated his imagination, but the belief that it could actually happen is where I fell short and where I continue to struggle in.
And that's the part that we're going to work on a lot today and this afternoon, is that we have to instill belief. People don't want to listen to people who don't believe in themselves. They don't. And that's why we do all these trainings, all these meetings, because we know that you have to instill the belief in who you are. You won't go do the things I ask you to do unless you believe you can. And so we have to work on ourselves, and the way we do that is by doing it. And by doing it together. And the greatest thing about our org is that we have teams. And you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And we're not going to leave you. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that personally with you over the next 6 months, building up your belief, doing Zoom sessions with you, going out to meetings with you, and showing you how you do it. And because I'm doing it, I'm going to get the team to commit to doing it, because I believe that you have the ability to do it. Mark, have you ever met anybody who's been in and out a couple times and still with it, has a belief, still comes by himself? You're the guy I want to work with.
Yeah, I'm the poster child for that.
He said, I'm the poster child for that. Don't you guys love Tony's vulnerability, his personality? Such a beautiful person. I'm in this with you. We're going hard in on this. Mark, he's right in North Carolina. Like, we can even have you, would you drive up? Would you be willing to drive up to North Carolina and get trained by some of the best too?
Oh, goodness gracious, yes, absolutely.
I love that. I love that. We'll make that happen for him. But that's incredible. I think that's the struggle, is building belief in himself. What's your biggest struggle? Write it down. Write that down. Okay, Jan, you're up, baby.
What was the question again?
What's your biggest struggle?
My biggest struggle is seeing that people might be able to believe in me. When I went to Texas, I went there because my son married a Texan, and they're hard to get him out of Texas. So if I wanted to be grandma, I had to think of something. And so, once again, I said a little prayer. My husband said, oh, I think I could get myself fired, because I'd come back from vacation. I went to my job, and they said, you're done. They'd tried to get rid of me for years, which didn't help my confidence. And I thought, okay, there's a plan here. But what is it? It says, I got this great business to back me up. I can go to Texas, and I can make it, and I can do it. And then I found out I wasn't meeting anybody. I didn't know anybody. I joined Toastmasters thinking I could be a better speaker, but you know what? All of a sudden, I felt like I was invisible. Like I could be in a room and I'd be talking and nobody would hear me. I thought, I've got something inside me, but why can't I get it out? And I just seem to have lost it since then.
Well, you know what, Jan? That is so beautiful, because you know what? We're going to work on that. And you know what? You are seen. Do we see, Jan? You are not invisible. You are not invisible. You are special. You're incredible. I'm going to come over there and give you a hug. You don't have to get up. I'll come to you. You're not invisible by any means whatsoever. I love you. You're sweet. Thank you. You're welcome. No, you're not invisible. And these are the things, how many can relate? Be honest, raise your hand. Are you struggling with the same way? Raise your hand. Please, I love you for it. We're going to help you. Now listen, Jan feels invisible. She also feels like she has so much in her, but she can't get it out. And she also feels like, you know, she just wants to be seen, but she's not sure if she should say it because she's not sure if she'll say it right. And here's the thing, Brett, you know this, right? We've encountered this together on the road, on this tour. A lot of people are afraid to make a move. They're afraid to step forward and say, you know what? I want to learn, but they're afraid that they may be embarrassed if they don't do it like our leaders. Everybody was a beginner once. Everybody started at one time. Nobody ever popped out of their mama and jumped up on stage and said, I'm a great speaker. Nobody ever popped out of their mama and say, I got belief. You had to work on it. You have to build belief. It happens, right, Joanne and Nina, when we do the work. When we show people how to do it, we have to practice it. Are you guys willing to practice the things together with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Dan, we're going to do this behind the scenes, not in front of everyone. We're going to do a lot of work for the next 6 months. A lot of work. We're going to be doing it on the phone, on Zoom, in person. Do the work. Bring some people in to help us because we got to do some positive affirmations, like Mary says, some self-talk, convince ourselves that we are possible. Work with our teams. Do you have any friends in the business, by the way?
Oh, yes.
Huh? Because we got some people who want to be Tony's friend and Jan's friend, for sure.
Wow. In the business, I would say my closest friends are Mario and Catherine Scalisi. They're here right now.
I love the Scalisi.
I
love Mario.
My personal sponsors and their national supervising coordinators.
Oh, that's
And
great.
Every time I reached out to them after I left the business again, they'd always open me with open arms, and I'm so appreciative of you guys. I know you're here, and I can't see you, but I just want you to know I appreciate you guys.
Do you have any friends in the business around you that are not, I don't care if they're in your business or not. I don't care what leg you're on, if you're in the same leg or not. Do you have people in the area that you know that are in the business?
Well, Jason Peer, he's here tonight. He's an hour away.
Okay, and so you're about an hour from where, Wilmington?
That's right. I'm an hour north of Wilmington, yeah.
Okay, just so you know, I'm really good at a lot of things. Geography is not one of them. However, that was the only thing I failed. Mark did like this. Geography wasn't good. But anybody near that area? Raise your hand. Let me hear you. Audrey was there. Audrey, you want to hook up with Tony later and be friends? Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, Aubrey, yeah. Yes. Yes, I was there.
So I'm going to connect you guys so you guys can be friends, because if you help take him under your wing, that means you get to go under my wing too. Okay? This is going to be a real team effort, Kev. You're going to do this with me, Cullen and Kevin. We're going to take this on. So whoever agrees to help Tony over in North Carolina and near North Carolina, you get to work with us too. There's a benefit in this, but you're willing to put in the work.
Yes, and that's the difference. That's the difference I have to make.
I love that. Jan, you willing to do it, babe?
I do what you tell me.
Nah, I love that. I love that. Coachable. We're coachable. What's the next? What do we got next, guys?
I mean, this is a multi-layered question. I know
Okay.
it's not the easiest question, even though it might seem really simple, but there may be some areas in life that you are, some where you're not. Are you happy?
Oof. Let me stop everybody for a second. It's a tough question. Why did I want you to answer the question if you're happy? It is a very challenging question to answer. And if you're really honest with yourself and you're struggling, you have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. So happiness, like Mary said, is a multi-layer question. If you ask me if I'm happy in my soul, deep in my soul, what do you think my answer would be? No, I'm sad. Deep in my soul, I have pain that I can't fix. I can't get rid of it. Can't reconcile it. It doesn't go away. The difference is I'm going to use it as my fuel. And that's what I want you to do. And when we do that, we begin to heal. And you will never, I don't even want to talk about grief, because everybody knows that for me, grief is just like, there's no such thing. People like, oh, how you feeling? It's good to see you looking good again and feeling good again. Lady, I wasn't sick. My heart's broken. I'm devastated. It's a different type of feeling. Happiness is a really important question, because to be happy, you have to be making progress in your life. And I'm progressing in the business, but on a personal level, it would be very hard for me to see future of happiness other than with my circle. And so I've learned to accept that my happiness will come from my friends in this circle. That's where I will get my happiness from, and you have to find it too. And so that's a really hard question. Is everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm happy today, but are you really? What are your struggles? So if I know what my struggles are, that professionally I'm doing okay. Personally, my struggles are big. And I can know how to navigate that way. And I can at least, I'm bringing them to my self-awareness so I can handle them as they come on. Because you can ask my family, I can be falling up. Last night I fell apart at least 10 times. At least 10 times I was like, I don't think I can do this. I'm not sure I'm the one. You know what I mean? But then I just get back in my room and have a conversation with JR, and I'll be like, okay, I'll do it. And you got to build yourself back up. Tony, are you happy? I love you. He said no. He said no.
Well,
So, is that what you said?
I like to say that I am generally, I line up happiness. It's kind of like emotion. It comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if you're hopeful, there's happiness in your life. If you hope for anything, and every now and then we, come across a little bit of joy, and I think you can be happy because you've experienced joy, and you can hope for another encounter with it, however that connects with you, So it's like, all, half full at least, or full cup. You gotta look up and be optimistic.
Come on, that's great.
Because that'll,
Find the half glass.
it might be a little bit of state of mind, So and I would say yes, generally, I'm a happy guy.
You seem like you're a happy guy. I thought you said no, but it's hard to hear up here. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, right, between us.
Yeah, between us when you're amongst us. But that's great. And the fact that he's happy most of the time is fantastic. We can't be happy all the time, okay? Jan, how about you, honey?
Well, a lot of times I think we're smiling, our eyes are bright, but we're just content because we're putting on that face. We don't want anybody to really see what's going on inside. My greatest moments of happiness is when I walk in my son's house and my grandson runs up to me and goes, "Grandma!" And there's a big smile on his face, and there's this big, warm, sloppy hug, which we just love. And then he says, "This one loves me, doesn't judge me. This one, 4 grandchildren, they love me. I can teach them." So I can teach the little ones, but when they get to the bigger ones like you guys, that's when we get scared.
That's true. And you know what, Jan, I want to work on that with you, because I feel, by the way, I love my grandchildren. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren, as you know, and they're a huge part of my happiness and my life. But it is very important, I have learned through all my counseling that I've done over the last 15 months, and all of my friends and the love, is that we have to find something that serves us also. And that and something that feeds our soul. And it has to be something about ourselves. And in order to do that, it's serving others. Because sometimes, it would have been very easy for me just to go to my grandkids and say, you know what, I'm just going to stay with my grandkids. You have to do something for yourself. So your kids will always love you, and you will always love your kids. But one thing I've learned, as much as my grandkids love me, and they enjoy spending time with me, guess what happens? They still have their own life. And your kids, because you're their parents or your grandparents, even though they love you and you love them, they won't always fill your cup the same way you will. I know that it's very easy for us to be like, oh my God, I want to be the best mom, I want to be the best grandmom. So I'm going to say something that kind of is strange. And I have the most beautiful daughter who's been there with me every day since my husband passed away. But guess what? I want Amber to also have her own life. I don't want her to feel responsible or sad for her mother. Nobody should want that for their children. And nobody should, I'm not going to go hide behind my kids and be like, let me just stay with my grandkids. Because one day they're going to be like, you know, Mimi, let's go, man. You're driving us crazy. And so what you need to do is feel love by them, and they brighten your day, but you need to do something that satisfies your soul. Does that make sense to you? And it has to be through serving others, adults, conversation, things like that. We're going to work on that because I feel that with you. Is my mic back on?
Yeah, you're
Great.
on. So moving forward here, Jan, do you find it easy to make new friends?
Well, the funny thing is, I'm not in person. I put myself out there, and sometimes I put myself out there too much, I feel, and maybe people are shying away from me, but I just keep on asking myself, you know, I'm trying, but then towards the end of the day, sometimes I kind of peel back into myself now, and I never used to be like that, because I guess I take rejection too hard, or you know, put myself down too much. So what did I do wrong? You knock yourself out. What did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? I thought it went okay, but I don't stop. I still keep on trying. I'm
People
not
can
gonna be
relate to that, I'm
quitter.
sure.
I keep on trying.
You guys can relate to that, right? I mean, that's a tough one. You want to build her back up. Build her back up and keep her in the atmosphere. I think that's super important.
Yeah, that's one thing right now is, you know, that section over there, those are my 3D friends. I don't live by them anymore. I'm by myself, pretty much, and we Zoom a lot, but then when I'm here, I get my 3D hugs, and that's when I start building up again, but I miss having a close friend, somebody that I could really, really talk to, because I don't want to burden them with my problems. You know, they've got enough, so that's why you keep things.
Well, we're going to make things better for you, and you got 6,000 new friends today. 6,000 new friends. Are we friends with Jan or what? Tony?
What about you, Tony?
What was the question?
Do you find it easy to make new friends?
I wouldn't say friends necessarily. I don't have a lot of friends. I have lots of acquaintances. And one thing that I really enjoy doing is just randomly meeting somebody. There's probably a bunch of people here that I've randomly come up to and just said hi for no reason. I enjoy doing that. I just don't follow up with anybody.
Okay. I need to ask you a question. You don't follow up.
Yeah, no.
We're working on the follow-up for sure. Have you ever learned how to show the plan? First things first, we're working on that.
I have been taught countless times by the Scalises.
Kevin, you're taking notes, right?
I watch Don Martin's video constantly.
Oh, Don Martin.
Right. Yeah, the napkin style.
Yeah.
I love that. I showed the plan one time. I did.
Yes.
It went horrible.
Can I tell you something? By the way, the first time I spoke, it went horrible also. Listen to me.
I'm sure it went better than that.
The first time, he said I showed the plan once and it went horrible. Did I hear that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct, he said. Listen to me. You know when it doesn't get horrible? When we what? When we keep showing it. And what we're going to do is keep showing it together. Kevin, right? We're going to work with him on this, Andrew? No. We're going to do it with him. That's how I know you're going to do it.
All right.
I think Andrew's first time.
Okay, that's how we're going to do it, because the only way we get better is keep doing it, right, Elizabeth? I mean, how did you do it? Did you know how to show the plan great the first time? Was it horrible the first time? Joanne, was yours horrible the first time? Nina, Ben?
Awful.
JR said that he invented the plan and he didn't understand it the first time. Guys,
Mine was a disaster.
Yours was a complete disaster.
You saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. It was a disaster. We're gonna work with you on
He'll
that.
do great.
The more you do it, we'll even get Don. Will you contribute one time with us on a Zoom? Of course, he said. See, you like Don Martin style. You got it. We even see you connected to the right people right now. We got your back.
Nice. We got you, Tony.
I mean, Loren, I just appreciate you.
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're awesome.
And as much as you appreciate
Have you ever showed the plan,
appreciate you.
Dan?
Well, the last time I showed the plan was to 25 chickens.
Well, we got to practice sometimes, yes.
I went out to, my son's got 6 acres, so I went out there and, Mr. Winkler, Jim, keeps on saying, show the plan. So I thought, okay, well, I got my bag of mealy worms and I had a nice crowd in front of me.
Well,
And I
I've
started
never shown the
telling
plan
him
any
the
chickens, but
I started telling him the plan. And oh boy, I got a lot of recruits coming through that way. But
the good news is you're practicing. You're practicing.
Yeah.
Now we need some human beings so they can create some BV and IBV for you. But we're gonna work
And
with
guys,
you to make sure that happens.
And I love that. We're going to create some IBV and BV, and we're going to practice some real people. But I love that you're practicing on chickens. And guys, again, I want to say this, and I'm on a lot of Zoom calls every week, a lot. And I want to just say that there are many of you out there that I know that you're doing these Zoom sessions, in-person sessions, teaching people how to show the plan. It is so important that you build your confidence in doing it. You will stink at it the first 50 times. You will. You know why? Because you got to stop trying to be somebody else. You got to be true to yourself. You got to do it your way. You got to put your own personality into it. But it is so important that you learn how to show the plan because it's the keys to your car. It's your fuel for to get you where you need to go. It's going to be the follow-up for your future when you do that. It is so important that you learn how to do that. We're going to teach you guys how to do that.
Got you.
well, you make it so easy. It's just right there, right?
We're just
Exactly.
right there. That's it. We're going to do it together, okay? What do we got? What do we ask them? Oh, Mary's got a question.
Yes. How do you invest in yourself?
Emotionally, physically, spiritually. How do you invest in Tony?
Well, I'm
Yeah, Jan, let's go. Ladies first.
It's all right.
You're right.
Ladies first. I'll need a minute anyway.
No, Jan, you go first. How do you invest in yourself?
every Sunday I have somebody to talk to. I'm a member of the choir at my church, and we practice on Tuesdays, and there's nothing more enjoyable than to start out a Sunday morning with singing in praise to God. And I always feel really good. But the thing is I had to remember is when you're a singer in the choir, your voice gets very dry. So I would bring my little bottle of aloe with me, and I think they think I'm drinking wine up there.
Well, it'd be the Lord's wine, Jen. It'd be the Lord's wine. That's probably not funny. I'm sorry.
Jan, you heard Mark yesterday. The two most powerful words in marketing are "what's that?" Okay, so I'm going to recommend you bring that aloe bottle with you so they can see it. They're going to ask you, "What's that?"
That's a great tip, guys.
You're going to get some new customers as a result.
Little by little, I'm starting to get to them a little bit. I got 2 on collagen right now. I'm working on daily essentials, and I'll just bring a packet and I'll pass it out.
Good,
I
perfect.
think it's
perfect.
fantastic. I think that's great. Tony?
Well, it's so interesting that you say you sing in the choir. As a matter of fact, I do too. I'm a tenor in my choir at home.
You're a tenor?
I am a tenor, yeah.
I'll use an alto.
Okay, it'd be a long drive to join you, but man, how do I invest in myself? Well, I'm constantly listening to videos and, gracious, Eric Worre, there's a guy who coined the phrase, as a man thinketh, so is he. I forget his name, but I mean, it's just all of this whole network of, just inspirational stuff, and it really lines up. One thing I do want to say, and it kind of hit me that, how this business, the support that we have in this business really lines up with what the majority of people are telling, you know what I mean, that you hear, So that was another, a bridge to bring me along into the belief system that, you guys really know what you're talking about. You've done it. You've been there. And we just need to keep hearing it. So that's one thing that I do, I majorly do, is listen to videos, JR, everyone who is in this industry, and knows what they're talking about. So.
Well, you have to, and I think that's so key, you have to feed your mind. You have to feed your mind. Positive affirmations, listen to tapes, going to seminars, going to events. Stay in the atmosphere. One of the things I always say at every event, and Gerald always says, you must stay in the atmosphere. As soon as you leave these walls, people will try to penetrate you and try to tell you that you're not worth it. They'll try to tell you you're not special and you shouldn't try, and you should give up and try to do something else, and you'll never make it in that. And that's not yours to own. And I know that we're out of time in this segment, but I do want to tell you guys that we have identified where we need to work. Got to build belief. We got to work on making them feel comfortable about focusing on their input and their output. And sometimes we have to do that for ourselves. And while you're watching there, did any of you connect with any of this when you ask yourselves the question yourself? Because it's a fact. If everybody was doing it, everybody in here be a director, which is our dream. And we want to make that happen, right? So the most important thing you can do is invest in yourself. And the way you invest in yourself is to build belief in yourself by doing the necessary steps, right, Andrew? By doing the necessary activities that will result in your future looking exactly like you want it to be. And you have to believe in yourself, and you won't necessarily, you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. I don't believe you came here kicking and screaming. If you did, don't tell me about it. You're here. All I want you to do is focus on you. Focusing on you and who you're meant to be and what we need to do to fix it. So if you're broken inside, guess what? You're not alone, I'm with you. If you're hurting inside, guess what? You're not alone, I'm with you. I'm starting over again. I'm starting over again. Everything I've done in the past doesn't matter. Hear me. I'm going to talk to you about this afternoon. Everything, any personal record of any accomplishment I've ever had in the past has no value, doesn't matter anymore to me. All that matters now is what I have to do. And when you convert your thinking and change your thinking from I should do this, I should go to the event, I should go learn how to show the plan, I should buy the tickets to the seminar, and you start changing your thinking and say, I must buy the tickets. I must buy the tickets because I'm required to do so, because I am the most important thing in my life and I deserve whatever I want. And the person I have to put first right now is me, over my children, over my grandchildren, over my spouse is you. You better clap for you. You better clap for you. The most important thing is you. And when you change your vernacular and you start talking like, I must do it, I'm required to do it. Because let me tell you something. I don't have to do it. I must do it. I require myself to do it. It is an absolute must. I'm not going to wake up and say, I should do this. In order for us to get there, you have to change what you're saying. You have to start talking with conviction. You have to start saying, I will do it. I must do it. In order for you to get where you want to go, stop saying you should. and start changing it to you must. You with me? That's what we have to do.
Tony and Jan, thank you very much for participating. It's
Thank you.
courage to stand up and to come up here. And in light of that, of course, we're going to work with you. We're going to do Zoom sessions with you. We'd like to give you 2 complimentary tickets to Icon, which will be in August. And in addition to that, we're having a beautiful reception tonight on Utopia 4 for our challenge winners. We'd like to invite each of you to join us with that tonight as well, okay?
And by the way, I want to just say, do we love Tony and Jan or what? Okay. We're proud of you. Do you want to say anything to the crowd before we exit the stage? You guys want to say anything? Because we're proud of you. Love you.
Oh, yeah. It's such a great time to be here. And I'm just so thankful for the energy in the room. And there was a time that I didn't think, well, I thought less of the events. But the fact of the matter is that coming to the event in Miami changed my life the first time. I came to Miami nearly 20 years ago. And it was at that point I believed in JR, I believed in the company. I said, this guy is sweating his face off doing these water pumps. You know what I mean? I had so much respect for him, and I so appreciated him. And it just changed my belief about a lot of things. So
Great.
thank you.
I'm glad you're here. You ready? You ready to hit the road running with me?
Yes.
Buckle your seatbelt. Buckle your seatbelt. I'm taking you on a fast ride. Jan?
There is nothing like being in a room of positive people. You know, I keep on saying over and over again, you know, you can't succeed until Market America really gets in you. I guess I was only going half, if I can say that. Okay, it's got to go full in me right now. And if all you guys want to keep me accountable, let me have it. Give it to me.
Yeah! Love you.
I got your back. Thank you.
I got your back. We got their back. I got your back. We're going to do this together. And everybody, make sure, you know, my real email is loren@shop.com. I never hide my real email. That's my real email. If you want to share your responses with me, nobody will leave you unattended. We'll help all of you. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to take a little break, and I'm coming back all afternoon.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Tonight. We'll see you tonight.